Hello, welcome back to another episode of The Process. How many times have you had something happen where your immediate reaction was to ask someone else for help, was to reach out and text someone and try to get some guidance or support for whatever the situation is? This is a pattern that I had for the vast majority of my adolescent life, for sure, and then also up into my adult life until very recently, in fact, because I had such a lack of self-trust. I felt this need to constantly look elsewhere. I remember I would have, say, something happen with an old boyfriend, and I would immediately message three or four different people explaining the situation, and I get their feedback, and I get, to talk through and vent about all the things regarding the situation. And it would make me feel better in the moment because I wasn't having to deal with it myself and I was getting other people's input. But it never actually helped me move the needle in a meaningful way or do things differently. Ultimately, I had to come to those conclusions on my own. I had to practice doing those things on my own. And this is not me saying that you should never seek help from other people. That's not the point of this episode. But what I do want to talk about is this tendency to look elsewhere, to look externally for the answers instead of looking inside ourselves. Because the more I do this work and the more that I learn, the more that I realize that we have most of the answers inside of us already. We already know what we need to do, what we need to stop doing, what we need to change, what we need to say. But it is really scary to look inward and to face those parts of yourself because maybe it's something that you've been doing that really hasn't been helping you. Or maybe it's a thought that you keep thinking over and over and over. And every time you do, you get sucked into a spiral. And so you don't really know what it feels like to even be outside of that pattern. And I want to really dive into this because it's something that I have been working through for a while. I feel like I have made a lot of progress, but it's also an ongoing journey because, like I said, for most of my life, I was really stuck in this pattern of looking for this external validation, looking for external guidance, support, whatever, you name it, because I didn't actually think that I would be able to figure it out on my own. I had evidence that I couldn't because there were times where I would try to do something on my own and it wouldn't work out. I have a memory of going and getting my windshield fixed years ago when I was 18. And I remember telling someone about it and them saying, "Oh, you paid a lot of money for that. You could have gone here and it would have been a lot cheaper." And what my brain registered is, you made a decision and you made the wrong decision. Of course, you made the wrong decision. You always make the wrong decision. You can't figure things out by yourself. You always need to ask. And that I share that story because it really stands out for me. I still remember it as though it was yesterday. That solidified this identity piece for me that I actually can't figure things out on my own. I need to look elsewhere to get the answer because other people know better than I do about my own life. Now, of course, a windscreen is different than making a decision about a partner or about a business or about where to live or a trip or whatever. Those are much bigger decisions. But I think that's kind of the point, is that a lot of times these stories that we come up with don't come necessarily from this massive life-changing moment on the outside, but it is massive and life-changing on the inside because it fundamentally shifted the way that I saw myself, and it kept me in this pattern because I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't even have awareness, really, that it was something that I could change. But since figuring this out, I have started to challenge myself in as many different ways as I can to go, do I actually need to message someone about this? Do I need to ask for their opinion? Do I need them to tell me where to book in the massage? Or can I just figure it out myself? And if it doesn't go to plan, that doesn't actually mean that I'm dumb or that I can't figure things out. It was just something that happens because that's what happens to everyone that makes decisions. We don't always make the right call and things don't always work out, but it doesn't have to then be associated with who we are. The other reason that I want to talk about this concept is because a few weeks ago, I listened to a TED Talk where the speaker shared a story that I honestly have not been able to get out of my head since. It has really opened my mind up to just how much the lengths that we will go to look externally, even when we know that the answer is internal. So let me try and tell this story. Let me set the stage. It's about a man who, let's say he goes out for the day and he forgot his keys. Somehow his keys got left in the house. And so he goes about his day and then he comes home and he realizes that he can't find his keys anywhere. And so he starts looking everywhere. He starts looking all over the front lawn, on the street, and he's looking for so long that it actually gets dark outside. And then a neighbor notices him looking and comes over and says, "What are you looking for?" And he says, "My keys." Excuse me. And so then the neighbor starts looking with him. They're both frantically searching for these keys. They've got this big street light that is helping them so they can see, trying to find where these keys might be. After a few minutes, they don't find anything. So the neighbor says, "Well, where did you lose them? Where did you last see them?" And the man says, "Oh, in my house, just by the table inside the front door." And the neighbor says, "Well, then why are you looking out here?" And the man says, "Well, it's too dark in there. I can't see." And this story blew my mind. It blew my mind so much that I actually didn't even get it the first time that I heard it. I needed to sit with it for a minute. So in case you are like me and you didn't quite understand, essentially what has happened is that this man is looking outside where there is light, despite the fact that he knows the answer is inside in the dark. And this is an analogy, of course, for ourselves, where when we are looking external to ourselves, it can feel easier, it can feel lighter, it can feel more obvious. But the real answers are when we turn inward and we go into ourselves, we face our shadow, we face our darker self, we face whatever term you want to call it. But essentially, it's much harder to do that. It's so much harder. It is so much scarier because you might find things in there that you haven't really wanted to face. You might see things that you can't unsee. There might be behaviors that you realize have actually been very maladaptive. They have been very unhelpful for you, but they have been part of your life for a very long time. And so even facing those and acknowledging them can be hard in itself. It's much easier to go external and say, "Well, I'm going to get so-and-so's opinion," or "It's their fault because of what they did. And, that's my answer, that they've done wrong to me. And so I don't need to go any further and I can just leave it at that." Or like my example of not being able to trust myself because I thought that all my decisions were wrong. So I would ask for everyone else's input and get them to try and make the decision for me, even if it wasn't actually aligned with what I wanted to do, because nobody knows what I need better than I do. I just didn't trust myself enough because I didn't know how to look inward. I thought this story was so interesting in the way that it is framed. It's actually called the streetlight effect because it is something that is so widely experienced by people. We don't want to feel uncomfortable, and looking inward is hella uncomfortable. It is not a joyful, yummy, restful experience. It is hard. You have to get really honest with yourself about the things that maybe you haven't been doing such a good job of, maybe where you have been letting yourself down, or maybe other people down. Maybe you haven't been showing up the way that you want to show up. And maybe that's the key. There's this part of your life that you're desperate to change, and you keep wondering why it won't change. You keep looking for all these things, the next goal, the next achievement, the next milestone, the next unlock for you, the next habit that you're going to implement that's going to suddenly change your life. But think about how long you've been saying those things and how little things have actually changed. That is because we are focused on looking for the answer externally to ourselves. We think that something out there is going to fix it, but it won't. The real change comes from turning around, facing the mirror towards yourself and going in and bringing up those old thoughts, bringing up those old behaviors and patterns. And like I said, getting really honest with yourself about why that's been happening, why you've been stuck in this pattern for so long, and what actually needs to happen for you to change it. And I think this story links really well to another concept that I use a lot in my own life and that I believe that I've spoken about on here before, which is that we often think we need more, but so often the growth that we're looking for comes from subtraction, not from addition. It doesn't come from adding all the habits and having a 2-hour morning routine and having every single moment of your day accounted for. It actually comes from doing less. It comes from getting rid of the crap that doesn't actually serve you, creating space for rest and stillness and boredom and reflection. We can't reflect on where we're at. We can't possibly go inward if we have filled up every moment of our day with stuff. And let's be honest, that's the way that society, especially in the Western world, is set up. We are praised for being busy, for having so many things on our to-do list that we can't possibly get through it, to waking up earlier, going to bed later, doing everything all the time, trying to get all the tasks done at once. That feels like the right thing to do. That feels like it is the best thing to do. Because like I said, we get praised for it. It's something that we strive for. How many things can I manage in my day and still be okay? But I think our measure of what is okay is very skewed as well. But think about how little time there is to sit with yourself when you are so busy with tasks, when you are so overwhelmed with the magnitude of things that you have going on. It's just not possible. And so we have to be able to slow down. We have to be able to let go of the stuff that doesn't help us. And yes, we might be wanting to implement better habits. I have been practicing gratitude with these women in my community for about a month now, and this has been extremely helpful. So this is a habit you might want to implement into your life, but we need to think about it in terms of switching habits, not adding habits. So instead of scrolling on my phone for 20 minutes in the morning, I'm going to journal about what I'm grateful for. Or instead of watching another episode of the TV show, I'm going to read a book about a topic that I've been wanting to learn about for the last 5 years. Instead of staying up late to get all my invoices done, I'm going to go to bed earlier and I'm going to hire a bookkeeper that can do that task for me because I know that I need my 7 to 8 hours of sleep in order to be functioning at my best. So a lot of times we need to really evaluate and audit ourselves. What are we doing? How are we spending our time? And how can I look at the behaviors that I have and make changes in what I'm doing so that my life can look different? Instead of thinking that I need to learn the next strategy, I need to implement a new habit, I need to add 4 new things to my diet. I don't know. It could be anything. But a lot of times it is actually subtraction. And it is a lot of looking inward and coming back to yourself and trusting that the answer is already in there. If you were to really take the time to sit with yourself, to close your eyes, to take 10 minutes of deep breaths, and then ask yourself, what is it that I need to be doing right now? I promise you that your inner voice will tell you exactly what you need to be doing and what you need to stop doing. If you ask it, it will tell you, and it will not bullshit you. It will not sugarcoat it. It won't make it overcomplicated. It won't lie. It has no reason to. It will tell you exactly what it is. Your intuition knows. We are just so used to bypassing it, turning it off, ignoring it, thinking that it's wrong, that we don't even know how to listen to it. But this parable of this man looking for his keys under the streetlight is an example of how we can really get so lost looking everywhere else instead of going to the one place that the answer has been living the entire freaking time, which is right here in your gut, right here in your mind. It's in you. It is already inside you. That's all I have for today, because this message, I think, has been so incredibly helpful for myself. Like I said, I've been thinking about it nonstop for the last little while. And so I wanted to share it here because maybe one of you will get some relevance. I don't know. It'll be relevant for you. That's the word. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you. I am so grateful that you are here coming along with me, listening to my stream of consciousness, listening to me say words wrong, because who the heck cares? I'm rewriting the story that it needs to be perfect in real freaking time. If you have any thoughts, please send me a message on Instagram at HeyBrookeDawson, or you can leave a comment on the YouTube video. If you'd also be so inclined to give us a review on Apple or Spotify, that would be amazing. I really appreciate it. I'm so grateful to be doing this, and I just love you guys. So I hope you have an incredible rest of your day, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.